some CT14 in the radiator. It's the radiator there. Let it soak for a little bit, then we'll give it a flush. A little curious to see what comes out of here. So just turned that inside out. Look at that. It's pretty grubby. So that's either in the block or it's been in the radiator, but I need to flush that out, give it a good clean. It's not good. So a little trick that I've learnt over the years, see this thermostat, you'll have all sorts of trouble trying to get this cooling system to bleed, because basically what will happen, it'll get an airlock inside the cylinder head, or the water to get to the back of the thermostat so the thermostat can open. I just had that problem when I was draining the cooling system. It drained the radiator, but didn't drain the block because there's an airlock behind that. So you get a drill bit, drill a small hole in there. The later model thermostat's got a jiggler in there to allow the bubbles to come through. So if you drill a small hole in there, pulse the cooling system when you're bleeding it, it'll get the air to come through the thermostat, then you'll end up with the coolant on the back of the thermostat. The thermostat will then start to operate correctly without boiling the system 3 or 4 times before it gets the airlock out. Something to be mindful of. I'll drill it and I'll show you. So there you go. I've drilled a hole there. It's about a 3.5 mil. That's probably more than enough. If you go bigger than that, it'll affect the efficiency of thermostat. They may even affect the efficiency of thermostat of a couple of degrees, but that's all. The downside is if you don't drill a hole in it, you can't bleed the system correctly and the things boil. You could try and bleed it out this end. That means you've got to take this off of here, take the gasket out of there. This is for a heater fitting. This car doesn't have it. So I pretty much, if I have a thermostat that doesn't have a jiggler in it, I drill a small hole in it so at least the air can travel through. Until you can get the air past that, get the coolant on the back of that, that won't work. That's that coolant filter sock I was talking about. You can see it's got some small shale in it. It's now with the sock turned inside out, so that was in here. You see some garbage floating around in there, so I was in 2 minds whether to put it back in, but I'm going to wash that and put it back in, just so I can keep this from getting into the radiator. So this is that filter that goes into the top radiator tank. So there has to be some sort of restriction, but the amount of restriction this generates is very little. So for the sake of saving some of that corrosion coming through into the tank and blocking the radiator, I think I'll put that back in. And the car's been on a trip, it's probably a 2-hour drive up the highway, and they haven't told me there's been overheating, so that's obviously hasn't created a restriction. Filter installed. I push the screwdriver through so it goes all the way out to the back of the tank, out here, so it doesn't ball up just inside the neck. So that's all the way through. Turn it back so it clamps against the hose, so you've got flow goes right through there. And you saw how little flow, little restriction it is when it's on the tap water flowing through. We've got some temp up, oil pressure's still good, it's idling perfect.